He's a businessman who says that's what Kentucky needs right now as governor. Billy Harper is also a race car driver who's kicking his campaign into high gear. Republican candidate for governor Billy Harper on WKYT's Kentucky Newsmakers.
Kentucky Newsmakers with Bill Bryant is brought to you by Lane Consultants, creating real estate transactions of value, and by Preston Osborne, a division of the Preston Group, a family of communications and research firms.
Well, hello there from WKYT 27 News First. I'm Bill Bryant. Hope your weekend is going well and that you're somewhere hiding from the wintry weather. Welcome, as always, to our listeners on WVLK AM 590 and to those of you watching, of course, on WKYT.com. It's a free-for-all in the race for governor of Kentucky with 10 tickets running in all. Kentucky has an exciting three-way Republican primary underway. The candidates are incumbent Ernie Fletcher, former Congresswoman Ann Northup, and today's guest on our program, Billy Harper. The Paducah businessman has spent millions of dollars already and logged probably thousands of miles in his quest for the state's top job. Where does he stand on key issues? What would be his top priorities for a Harper administration? And where does his campaign go from here? We'll also be finding out where he stands on some key issues like expanded gambling, right-to-work legislation, other things that are out there, and the questions on the campaign trail as we head toward May. Republican candidate for governor Billy Harper today on Kentucky Newsmakers. Thank you for coming, sir. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you for the invitation. Happy to be here.
You were here as an exploratory candidate before, and at that time you said you were kind of getting your issues in order and were prepared to take some stands at a later time, so hopefully that'll be today. Are you ready to go?
We're ready to go.
You filed now running for the Republican nomination. 4 years ago, you had raised money and had worked for Ernie Fletcher's election. Why have you dropped him as your candidate?
Well, Ernie Fletcher presented the Republican ideals and a very personable, likable guy. I was very excited for what he brought to Frankfort. And I still think the world of Ernie. He's very nice. But if you look at what's happened in the state, where we are, it's time we dramatically do something different and move forward. So this is not against Ernie Fletcher or any other candidate. This is about Kentucky and what we need to do to move forward.
Do you look at that, Mr. Harper, in terms of your party nominating somebody who can win? Is that your key focus, or do you really think that the state of the Commonwealth of Kentucky has issues because of the administration that's there now?
Well, I'm not going to say necessarily why we got to where we are, but I think we have, one is our party there because of the basic beliefs of the Republican Party, but I think it's more critical that we bring some positive leadership to Kentucky, move it in a forward direction in dramatic ways instead of doing business like we've done for the last 30 years, and we're still ranked 35th to 45th in nearly every stat.
Do you feel that, and as you say that it's gone on for 30 years, I mean, do you think that this Republican administration under Ernie Fletcher did not bring the kind of changes that you had hoped for?
I think Ernie did bring some changes to Kentucky, and some of them very positive, and he's accomplished some good things. But so are all the other states. So we're moving forward, but not fast enough. So again, I don't want to criticize Ernie, but Kentucky's just not moving fast enough for us to get ahead of the hounds in the other states in the race. So he's moved it in the right direction, not fast enough.
Governor Fletcher was the first Republican elected in more than 30 years. He won congressional races and a legislative race or two in Democratic districts. Are you convinced or concerned that he has lost that crossover appeal to Democrats?
Well, if you look at the polling, I think we have lost that. But I think people, as I've traveled the state, are looking for leadership, and they really vote their conscience of who will help Kentucky. So as I have those discussions, I think it's important that we get somebody that's not a politician, that's a business person, that will make the tough decisions, not give political answers or try to make everybody happy, but really step up to the plate and make the tough decisions to move forward.
Let's talk about that. What, in your mind, does a businessman, a career person who's run business, potentially bring to the governor's office that somebody who does not have that background might not?
Well, number one, I know what it's like to make a payroll. And so every Friday we've got to have funds to pay those people. I know what it's like to recruit workers in Kentucky, and we've created jobs, we've looked for people. So I've also know what it's like to make budgets, to manage multi-million-dollar projects, all of which we have to bring in within the budget. So that experience can easily transfer to government, that you do live within your means, you do spend the money wisely, but you don't overspend what you have. So that kind, as well as dealing with people and management, we're not all going to agree on everything, but if we have a means to sit down and work out solutions and disagree agreeably, we work. Don't worry about who gets credit, just worry about getting it done. Brings a whole different perspective.
You know, in many races around the country, there's frequently a business person or two who say, I will run state government like a business. And then, as you know, Mr. Harper, there are then those who say, well, government is not a business. It's not there to make a profit. It is there essentially to serve people. How do you counter that argument?
Well, I think you cannot run it like a business. I think you can bring business principles to Frankfort. And I've had several people within the system, legislators, tell me you're going to be very discouraged because you're used to your company making a decision and start doing it the next day. Where here it's going to be more teamwork, it's going to be more communication. But I've also, in industry groups and other things around the country, been in that same environment where you can't dictate what happens, but you build it by consensus and teamwork. So I do think we can do a lot of things, move it positive, but it does take everybody laying down the partisan politics at some point, becoming Kentuckians, and all jumping aboard to make this state move forward.